right in the middle of right now, I would argue, this period of time in places like the Gallatin Valley, the Bitterroot Valley, the Flathead Valley, is some of the really, in many ways, the most devastating environmental impacts that we've ever had. Because of all of the new population, the new sprawl, the suburbanization, the demand on water, the decline in air quality. I grew up in a place called Los Angeles, and I love Montana, but what I'm seeing now is more and more of Los Angeles too.
When addressing this issue of growth, people from different fields of land use and natural resources utilize a similar strategy.
This strategy is collaboration.
And the option is for more cooperation. So if I don't have $1.5 million to put in a 1.5 megawatt wind turbine, I can get together with a lot of my neighbors and we can all put it together and we can all share in the proceeds. So I think there's going to have to be that kind of consolidation taking place.
The current situation. When an endangered species is found on private property, governmental restrictions are placed on land use. These restrictions apply to development and resource extraction and can create economic hardship for the landowner. This policy creates a dilemma for property owners who sometimes take matters into their own hands, thus undermining the exact policy that is intended to protect the wildlife.
Although one of the things I'll talk about with all these programs is having to work with private landowners, because they control a lot of the habitat for endangered species, so you have to work with them as well.
I mean, the Rockies are still going to be an area where, especially with $100 a barrel oil and $1,000 ounce, gold, as we've had recently, they're still going to attract and produce a lot of opportunities for extractive industries. So I think the important thing to do is not just to shut our eyes and say, well, we don't want that anymore, but to try to work with those industries in a sustainable way.
That's a way to get the job done, is to collaborate and cooperate and share and work with volunteers.
Listen, be quiet. Hear what the land and the animals and the people, the landscape have to tell us.
In addition to utilizing cooperation, each interviewee had a specific vision for the future which pertained to his or her field.
A common thread was the importance of the younger generation to play an active role in addressing and understanding these issues.
But your generation is working on a much deeper and broader knowledge base. You realize the true global aspects of what you're doing, and you're much less naive than we were about the future.
Yeah, the number of hunters in most of the United States has stabilized or declined slightly. And that's because of the age of the people. If you look at the demographics of the people and that's also related to problems with access and ongoing development, things like that. And then the numbers of people that watch wildlife it's put out as like it's increasing at this incredible rate every year. Part of these things are what I think are artifacts of surveys on how you ask people questions. If you ask someone, do you like looking at birds? Sure, I like looking at birds. But if you came up behind them and said, it's going to cost you $20 to look at those birds, it's like, hey, wait a minute, it's just a robin or it's the ducks at the pond over there. But I'll pay $20 to go shoot ducks. I'm probably not going to pay $20 just to look at them on the pond over here. So
And trying to match the place with the resources that it has is critical. And what might work for Miles City is not necessarily going to work for Missoula. And I think that's where, being a geographer, that's where I would argue that place really does matter, and different places need different solutions.
People that are in the field that you are interested in architecture, and that is you put things together. You build things and organize things, and that's what we do with wildlife programs, is how do you put them together so that at the end you have something that works and works for the people that are in Montana.
That is, you're going to build green buildings. You're going to build buildings that are extremely energy efficient as well as beautiful. And it isn't that, oh God, if we only have the technology's there and it's becoming progressively less expensive.
It starts with someone who wants to build a house and recruits people that have minds like yours that can figure out how to piece all those things together. That kind of engineering, that kind of architecture is infinitely more complicated. But once done, then you have something that is a tribute to the landscape and its heritage, not an insult.